We've all seen those warnings on cigarette packs, right? Some of them are pretty graphic. But have you ever stopped to really think about what exactly is happening inside your body from that very first puff? Well, in this explainer, we're going to go on a journey. We're going to understand not just that smoking is dangerous, we all know that, but how it wages this incredible chemical war on your entire system.
So, let's get right to it. What is it that makes just one single cigarette so ridiculously dangerous? To figure that out, we have to follow the smoke. We need to trace its path of destruction, from the moment it's lit all the way down into the most critical parts of your body.
All right, so here's our roadmap. Our journey has 5 main stops. First, we're going to take apart the weapon itself, the cigarette. Then we'll watch the chemical assault begin right at the point of entry. After that, we'll follow those toxins as they invade the whole body. Then we'll see how nicotine pulls off a hijack of the brain to keep you coming back for more. And finally, we'll look at the long-term aftermath and the way out.
Okay, first things first. To really understand the danger, you've got to understand the weapon. So, let's deconstruct it.
On the surface, it's actually pretty simple. You've got 3 basic parts. There's the tobacco blend. That's just dried up leaves from a plant called Nicotina tabacum. That's all wrapped up in some paper. And then, at the end, you've got the filter. Now, that filter is supposedly designed to catch some of the gunk, the tar that's created when it burns. But, as you're about to see, that little word some is doing a lot of heavy lifting.
And here we go. This is the moment everything changes. The second a flame touches the tip of that cigarette, it stops being a simple object and transforms into a miniature chemical factory, launching its very first assault.
And what a factory it is. Get ready for this number. The smoke that comes off a single lit cigarette isn't just smoke. It's this complex mist that contains over 7,000 different chemicals. Now, okay, a lot of them might be harmless, but hundreds of them are straight up toxic, and at least 70 are known carcinogens. They're proven to cause cancer. So let's meet a few of the main villains in this toxic cocktail, shall we? You've got tar. That's the sticky brown stuff that stains your teeth and fingers. Then there's hydrogen cyanide, which is literally a poison that immediately goes after your lung's own cleaning crew. And of course, you've got these notorious cancer causers like arsenic and benzopyrene. They're about to go on a really destructive trip through the body.
Now, before we see what these villains do, you have to meet the good guys, your body's first line of defense. All along your airways, you have these incredible, tiny, hair-like things called cilia. The best way to picture them is like a constantly moving escalator, always working to sweep mucus, dust, and germs up and out of your lungs, keeping them clean.
But here's where the first major disaster strikes. That hydrogen cyanide we just mentioned, it's like it cuts the power to the escalator. The cilia are instantly paralyzed, and that sticky tar, it's like pouring glue all over the gears. So with the escalator shut down and gummed up, there's absolutely nothing stopping those thousands of other chemicals from going deeper and deeper into the most delicate parts of your lungs. This is a critical first breach of your body's defenses.
But the invasion does not stop there. Not even close. Once the toxins get deep enough into the lungs, they get access to the body's superhighway, the bloodstream. And from here, they can go everywhere.
So let's zoom way in. Deep inside your lungs, you've got millions of these little air sacs called alveoli. Think of this place as the most important transfer station in your entire body. It's right here that the oxygen you breathe in gets passed into your red blood cells. It hitches a ride on a protein called hemoglobin, which then delivers it as fuel to every single cell you have. And this is where the next attack happens. One of the gases in that smoke is carbon monoxide. And carbon monoxide is, well, it's a bully. It actually binds to hemoglobin more than 200 times stronger than oxygen can. So it literally just walks up, shoves oxygen out of its seat, and takes its place. The result? Your blood is now carrying a poison instead of fuel, starving every cell in your body of the oxygen it desperately needs to survive.
So here's the really crucial point. Once those chemicals cross over from the lungs into the blood, this is no longer just a lung problem. It's a full body crisis. The bloodstream becomes a delivery network, a distribution system for this toxic cocktail, dropping it off at every single organ, your brain, your heart, your skin, you name it.
And the damage is just widespread. These chemicals start to damage the delicate lining of your blood vessels. This causes inflammation, which leads to a buildup of fatty plaques, making the arteries narrower and narrower. And you know where this is going. If a critical vessel to the heart or the brain gets blocked by one of these plaques, that's a heart attack. That's a stroke. All while this is happening, heavy metals like arsenic are hitching a ride to the liver, the kidneys, the bladder, jacking up the risk of cancer in places far, far away from the lungs.
Now, all of this sounds absolutely terrible, right? So it begs the question, why on earth do people keep doing it? The answer, my friends, is not in the body. The answer is in the brain, and it's all thanks to one specific, incredibly powerful chemical.
Welcome to the cycle of addiction. And believe me, it is brutally efficient. 7 seconds. That's it. That's all it takes for nicotine-rich blood from your lungs to hit your brain. The moment it gets there, it starts pulling levers, releasing a flood of chemicals like dopamine, which gives you that feeling of pleasure, and adrenaline, which makes you feel sharp and focused. But, and this is a huge but, it's incredibly short-lived. In just a couple of hours, the nicotine levels crash, and your brain starts screaming for another hit. Over time, your brain gets used to it, it builds a tolerance. That means you need more and more nicotine to get that same feeling, which just makes the cravings and withdrawal even more intense. It's a perfect trap.
So what happens when that vicious cycle repeats day after day for years and years? The damage that accumulates is just staggering. It's grim. But, and this is so important, there is a way out. In the long run, the effects just become undeniable. That constant chemical assault on the lungs leads to diseases like emphysema. That's where the walls of those vital little air sacs literally break down, making it harder and harder to just breathe. That lack of oxygen and the damage to your blood vessels starves your skin, causing premature wrinkles. It dulls your sense of taste and smell. And honestly, the list of other serious health problems is tragically, truly long.
I want you to just let this quote sink in for a second. Tobacco is the only legal drug that kills its users when used exactly as intended by its manufacturers. Think about that. Its danger isn't a bug, it's a feature. It's not a side effect from misusing it. When you use it exactly the way it's designed to be used, it's lethal. That is a sobering, heavy thought.
But let's not end there, because there is genuinely good news. This knowledge, everything we've just walked through, it's making a real difference. All around the world, smoking rates are falling. As more and more people understand the exact mechanisms of how this works, they are making the choice not to start, or they're finding the strength and motivation to quit.
And look, if you happen to be a smoker watching this, and you're even just thinking about quitting, you need to know that thought alone is a massive, massive step. Seriously, that decision to even try is half the battle. And today, there is more help available, more accessible than at any point in history. So we'll leave you with this question. Now that you've seen the whole journey, from a simple paper tube all the way to the chemical hijacking of your brain, what does this information empower you to do next? What's your next step going to be? Thanks for joining us.